Thank you for joining us today. I'm Brad Eberhardt, joined today by Brad Kex, the Hexis Cyber Solutions Product Manager for HawkEye AP. Thank you for joining us today, Brad. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about you and what you do at Hexis Cyber Solutions.
My name is Brad Kex, and I've been product manager of the HawkEye AP product for about 8 years here, working with the product and the people involved in it.
Tell me a little bit more about HawkEye AP and how it relates to other SIM products in the market.
HawkEye AP is a security analytics platform. So we typically take in information from all kinds of products throughout the entire IT infrastructure, including all kinds of security products. And when it comes to SIM products, we have some special integration to help SIM products. We kind of offload the log management side of those SIM products so they can actually focus at what they're good at, which is the real-time alerting and correlation. And actually they can improve their performance because they only have to deal with the data that's most relevant to their use case, which is alerting, and then use our platform for the log management and a lot of the deep analytics that we're really good at.
That's interesting. Would you mind talking a little bit more about the difference between detection and discovery?
Unlike a lot of other security products, HawkEye AP concentrates on discovery, not just detection. So most products are all about discovering the bad software as soon as it comes into the environment in real time. So antivirus, firewalls, intrusion detection prevention, all the different security products are all about immediate detection of the bad software as soon as it's potentially getting into your environment. However, Verizon business reports, most people already know, have said over 66% of these bad software are first detected more than a month after the initial compromise. So to only look at the most recent real-time information is really neglecting a big component of what should be in your overall security arsenal.
So, Brad, what does the competitive landscape look like for HawkEye AP?
So most commonly, as a security analytics platform focusing on big data, people interpret big data to mean Hadoop or Splunk. Those are the most common things that we see, and we're a very different product than Hadoop or Splunk. Most notably, those are big data repositories where they don't necessarily have structured columns and rows that are a characteristic of databases. The other aspect are large data warehouses, so databases that actually have columns and rows, and these are products like Netezza and Teradata, Exadata. They also scale to petabyte sizes, but those platforms are really just the database. So HawkEye AP is a large-scale data warehouse, but it's a complete solution designed for security analytics. So it has all the collection routines that you need to get this data in from your IT infrastructure, as well as a reporting module, so you don't have to go out and buy Crystal Reports or Business Objects or another product. We also have an open platform, so you can use Crystal Reports or Business Objects if you have that in your environment. But we come as a complete solution with not only all these facets of the solution, but also content that comes out of the box, so you can start going immediately with a lot of reports and now data flow models as well.
With that said, what do you think the most unique differentiators are for HawkEye AP in the market?
What is very unique for HawkEye AP, and this is actually part of our patents, is something we call horizontal timestamp partitioning. So not only do we separate the data out into rows, which are actually separate column files, but we also break the data up horizontally as time goes by. So in general, this is event data, and event data is any kind of data that has a timestamp and that you never want to change. So with that, event data comes in timestamp order usually, and we just put it into separate partitions on disk as the time goes by. And unlike most other database products, we have no single construct that goes over the entire table from the very beginning to the very end. So as your tables grow very large, over trillions of rows, you don't have to update an index that spans the entire trillions of rows. You're only updating the indexes for the most recent information. So that gives our platform virtually unlimited scalability with the volume of data. It just doesn't cost us any more processing power if you have more data stored. That's very different than other databases with typical indexes, very different than Splunk. Per their documentation, they say right in there, one of the factors of performance is the size of the data set. So as their data set grows, they definitely, you need a whole lot more processing power. And our platform is very unique in the way we handle large scales of data in that respect.
Over time, because that is what we're talking about long term, How do you explain to your partners this is how your customers get their return on investment?
The way we explain it is usually by referencing other customer stories and some of the benefits they've had from having the environment on hand. So one customer has reported an order of magnitude, so 10 times better time for researching an incident when an incident occurs. So the time to investigate an incident used to take over 2 weeks when they had ArcSight ESM, but they also had ArcSight Logger, and they had a lot of other large data sets in other data warehouses. So anytime they discovered an incident that was further back in history than ArcSight ESM could immediately research, they had to pull back information from Logger, they had to pull out other information from these other warehouses, spend time with Excel spreadsheets combining and correlating the data, and eventually coming up with an opinion of whether that particular malware or bad actor got in or did something that was truly bad, or maybe it was just an anomaly and they need to move on and it's not a big deal. So now with HawkEye AP, they can do that entire investigation all in one platform in typically a day. So a 2-week investigation now takes them 1 day.
So it's about drastically reducing time to investigate. Can you also talk about how HawkEye AP fills the gap in terms of mandates that exist in Europe and may become law in other countries?
So this is an interesting use case. So we're actually very widely used in Europe, not just England, for call data record retention. So this was mandated by the EU government after the 2004 bombings in Madrid, which was discovered to be set off by cell phones. So the police, in trying to pursue the terrorist who set off that bomb, contacted Telecom Italia, and it took them over 6 weeks to come back with the records. And the reason is they had all the data, but in order to go back and look at the data, they had to acquire new hardware because they didn't want to take their operations offline, restore these backup tapes to this hardware, and then do the investigation and hand the data over to the police. So after that time gap, they came out with this regulation, which each country needed to pass into law, and it basically says they now have to hand these records over to the law enforcement without undue delay. And of course, each country has interpreted undue delay as a different time frame, but the end result is now we've got over 40 customers in Europe. This has been the choice because really, the HawkEye AP is the most efficient way to store large mass quantities of event data.
Brad, thank you so much for spending this time today helping the viewers and me understand the value of HawkEye AP. To learn more about how HawkEye AP can help you, please visit the Hexis Cyber Solutions website at hexiscyber.com.